Nobody. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. In this video we are going to be reviewing Nobody, which is an awesome action thriller movie that explores the pent-up rage being unleashed in a really dramatic way by a quote-unquote nobody. Now this movie is a really cool film as it's comedic in certain parts, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just such a fun and refreshing action thriller movie that I cannot wait to break down for you in this movie review. So from a storyline point of view, this film centres around the lead character called Hutch, who is a seemingly ordinary man that leads a very boring life in terms of having an office job with his wife's family that he just doesn't really enjoy, and also his life is very repetitive and very mundane. One day his house gets broken into and this character does nothing, which leads to him becoming a bit of a laughingstock by all of the people around him. He then unloads all of this rage onto a gang on a bus, which kickstarts a series of events that involves a Russian mob boss. Now from a positives point of view, this movie has action sequences aplenty. There are loads of different action sequences taking place in loads of different scenarios. So for example, the bus, a warehouse, a house. There are loads of different action sequences happening in loads of different situations, which keeps them fresh and very new as well. I feel like the pacing in this movie is really good as well. You're not dragging in any of the scenes for too long. It kind of moves on to the next one really well. I feel like the tone in this movie is really cool and fun as well. And also, I feel like this character is really relatable in the sense that he's always overlooked and kind of forgotten about by everybody around him, but then kind of rises up against that, which I think is really cool. However, from a negatives point of view, I feel like the lead villain in this film is really weak. I feel like they tried to make him really funny, but that didn't really work either, and they tried to make him really threatening, but that didn't really work either. So I feel like the main villain in this film unfortunately is pretty weak also. I feel like his family could have done so much more in this movie. They're kind of stuck away in the basement for the majority of the second and the third act of this movie, and I just feel like they could have done so much more in this film. And also the opening sequence in this movie, they are showing how repetitive, mundane and boring his life is, but they just do this on a loop so much, and as a result it does feel very boring and repetitive, and I just feel like they could have reduced that and still had the same impact. But you know, that being said, overall from a storyline point of view, Nobody is actually pretty awesome. So from a casting characters point of view, Nobody really does come into its own in this area, as well as they've got such a brilliant cast playing all of their characters so well. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Bob Odenkirk playing the lead character Hutch in this movie, and he does an excellent job in terms of showing the overlooked family man aspect of this character, turned or returned rather back into an assassin, and he's just really good in terms of playing the humorous side of this character. There are some really funny laugh out loud moments that this character delivers, and also from an action sequences point of view, Bob Odenkirk does such a good job in terms of being the action star in this movie. All of the action sequences themselves are really great as well, and this character actually takes a lot of damage himself as well, and Bob Odenkirk executes all of that really well. Next up we have Christopher Lloyd from the Back to the Future franchise playing Bob Odenkirk's father in this movie as the character of David, and he has his own action sequences and he is incredibly hilarious and super endearing. You're really wanting this character to be an absolute boss, and he delivers on that, and he's absolutely hilarious in his sequences as well. Next up we have Connie Nielsen playing the wife character to Bob Odenkirk's Hutch, and you can really see that he's very jealous of this character as she is very successful. She's definitely the breadwinner of this family, but she doesn't really do that much, and I just feel like she could have done so much more, especially if you're going to have a brilliant actress who can definitely deliver from the action sequences point of view, which we've seen in the Wonder Woman franchise. Hopefully if this movie gets a sequel we can see a lot more of that, but that was a little bit disappointing that we didn't get to see a little bit more from this character. And then we have the main villain in this movie, who is a character called Ilya, and I just feel like this character could have and should have done so much more. He was a bit of a mob boss that was a bit of a singer at the same time, and I feel like they were doing that to add a bit of humour, but I just feel like this character, like I said before, just wasn't that threatening, and they really just could have done so much more with him in this movie. But all in all, from a casting characters point of view, this movie is actually pretty wicked. So from a visuals point of view, Nobody is also a really cool movie. I think they did a really good job in terms of showing the character's ambition to wanting to lead a very simple and very happy family man lifestyle, and you can really feel that from the suburban setting in the beginning of this movie, but then very quickly it goes back into the assassin action aspects for this character, and those sequences are really cool. At points you can feel like it's very choreographed especially the final sequence at the end of this movie. But that being said, it's still very enjoyable to watch. I feel like they did such a good job in terms of getting the tone right of this movie, in terms of being really fun and very action orientated as well, and as such it's just a really enjoyable and very endearing watch. And so from a visuals point of view, this movie definitely comes alive really, really well in Nobody. So from a comparison point of view, of course, there are loads of other action movies out there, and this is another action movie to add onto the group, but I think it's so much better than Extraction, 21 Bridges, Abduction, SAS Red Notice, Ava, and Lucy, and I'd say it's on the same level as Unhinged, Honest Thief, and the John Wick franchise, which incidentally has the same creative team behind that franchise and this movie franchise, which I think is going to cross over in the future as well. But from a comparison point of view, this movie is actually a pretty strong action movie entry. So overall, I have to say I really, really enjoyed Nobody. I feel like they took the fabric of an action movie and added in depth, humour and relatability in there, and had some brilliant action sequences in there. I love the fact that Christopher Lloyd was playing Bob Odenkirk's father in there. I feel like Bob Odenkirk truly delivered in terms of playing a really relatable and awesome action hero star. So for all of those reasons, I have to give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.